Okay. How's everyone doing? All right. Got some messages pinned. We will be working on getting this first test build ready to go, and I've kind of been working on the side trying to figure out how to advertise that I'm going to start doing, I don't know, probably bi-weekly tests where I'd like to get some alpha testers initially, and then of course it'll grow into a beta test as we grow. I'm going to work on getting some testers and then also start doing more just giveaways and stuff like that in general as things grow. So kind of been thinking through all that, and I'll have more details on that soonish I should say. But let me just close this out. So let me get everything running. We can kind of see where we're at. Busy week at work this week, so I wasn't able to get a stream in until today, which today we're having issues with snow. If it keeps snowing like this, they're talking about power outages, so if I disappear, that's the most likely reason why. But it's not like I can do anything else today with all the snow coming down, so I think this is a good day to try and get some of this knocked out. So when I left last time, we were getting real close on the just new game setup. And my notes here say that we need to finish the validation of the continue button and then build out the continue button, which means this button here on the character creation screen. So I have the server running. I think I should be able to push play here. I think I might have to go back to a different scene to log in first. I can't remember where I've got this. If it's going to save the login on this one or not. Probably not. Let's see. It appears... yeah, it's kind of working. So we did get a lot of this built out. We have the different characters here. We have the ability to modify. So like if I select this character here, I can make modifications to him. And it should save those updates, as you can see on that picture. It's doing it after we click through to a different one. So I might eventually update that, but so that it updates every time you click and make any changes. But so that part's working. We can update each individual hero in the party. I don't have this part set up right. The validation I was talking about is this continue button. It is actually disabled right now. It needs to turn green when all the heroes have a name. So it shouldn't allow them to continue on until all the heroes are named. So let's kind of click through. I'll have to look into this because the input event on my keyboard is kind of very laggy, and sometimes it's not even capturing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Let me write that down because that's actually... I hadn't done this test of entering in the data. Something is causing it. But I do have a null pointer reference. That, I'm getting a lot of null pointer references. So I think that's actually the issue. I mean, I need to look into it, but... Alright. Create party panel controller line 42. Yeah. I was trying to enter something into all of these so I could test that the continue button would turn green. But we're having that issue where it's really laggy and it doesn't look like the continue button is turning green yet. So I think we probably haven't built that all out all the way yet. But that's where we're at. We're trying to get to the point where this will turn green and then we can actually click it and perform the updates in the database. So it needs to add all of these new heroes to the database, create the game in the database, and then continue on to the game scene, which right now is just the combat scene, but that's what we're working towards here. So let's stop that from running, and then let's kind of look. Let's first look at that error that was popping up. Hopefully I didn't lose it since I stopped it. Okay, I didn't. Good. Create party panel 42 is throwing a null reference exception. So let's check that out first. And some of this might even be stuff where I had stopped it. I just didn't finish building it out. Okay, yeah, so this is just me. I hadn't actually set the reference to the continue button, I bet. Let's check that. That'll be a quick fix. Let's find the continue button. All right. Let me rename that. Since it says continue, it makes more sense to name it continue. That is running the right click, but I need to put a reference of this in that other script, I believe, is what it was complaining about. So that's this guy here. You can see the continue button doesn't have a reference. So let's just drop that in there. That might fix the validation already, but let's just keep looking before we test again, because I can't remember how that validation works. So I have this, we did make this method that's supposed to validate. Oh yeah, I didn't build that out yet. So that's where I said I need to build out how the validation works. And what was that triggering on? Let's double check that. On name change. Okay, so this was a listener that we set up on all the input fields. So we need a game name, a kingdom name, and each hero needs a hero name. It's kind of what we're going with here for this. And that's why I put a listener on all of those. So when any of those are changed, that's when it needs to check the data set again. And if any of them are still empty, then is data valid should return false. And I don't even know if we define the game name or the kingdom name field input fields yet. Let's check that, because I don't think I don't see those anywhere. Those should show up no matter what. All right. Let's copy the name field. I thought I had already done some of that, but maybe not, because I'm not seeing it here. Because I thought I had put it down here. I wonder if I lost something. Maybe this is an older... No, it doesn't matter. I don't have a backup anyways if it somehow lost something there. It couldn't have been much that I would have lost. So let's move this up a little bit. Let's copy this hero name setup here. So let's just duplicate that. And we're going to name this kingdom name input. And then let's move that whole, that should move, yeah, moves the label down as well. I do remember doing this. I must not have saved something correctly. I do have a bad habit of not pushing the save button before I walk away. And Unity did crash that day after I had done my stream, so I bet I lost something there. I gotta get in a better habit of pushing the save button. Alright, let's change the placeholder to say kingdom name. Alright, and then just, whoops, I didn't mean to zoom in that close. That's the actual text holder. All of these should be set up okay as far as styling, because I copied from the other one and that one was working right. So that should be good for that one. Now let's do the same thing. Duplicate that. We're going to name this one game name input. Let's move it over to the other side here. And the label needs to change to game name. And then the placeholder should read game name. And then just rename the text field. All right. And it should be pulling those into the actual input. So game name should be the name of the field in that. And it is. So I don't have to fix any of that. Just by renaming it, it still captures those references. Okay, so those look good. Let's see if we have something in the class already or if we need to add a... No, we do already have those. So the kingdom name input can go there. And the game name input can go here. And I had done this on the hero name field when we were doing that part and learned that you have to use this input part of it. Originally I'd grabbed the spot where the text was actually showing up and it was causing some weird issues where there was extra spaces in there or just extra data that I hadn't actually typed in. So just a little note for anyone that's working in this part of it. Make sure you grab the actual TextMesh Pro input field game object to put into that reference. Alright, I'm going to say save right now since I just made some updates. And now let's jump back into the code. Now that we have the references to those, and we've already got them here, so now we should be able to try to build out this validation. We have references to all of those objects. And I guess really we can just kind of step through those other ones individually, and then the names we can probably somehow loop through the list object for the names. So for this one, is data valid? We want to first say if kingdom name field dot text equals, or I think there's actually a way to just say is empty, maybe. Is maybe not. No, there isn't is empty. I see it there. We want that to return false. We can probably just do an or here. Or game name field dot text dot is empty. Alright, so that'll capture those two individual inputs. And then we just need to loop through. I don't remember what the name of the object was. Let's look real quick. So we are storing when we exit out. So here we're not actually going to look at the field for this one. What we want to look at is that each of the, I think it's this one, the party data, each of the party data objects has a name as part of that unit object within there. So if we look at this, let's look at this real quick. Yeah, see how we have a reference to the hero info, which is the unit object. And in the save routine, when we exit, not when we exit, when we, I got so much stuff open up here. Let me close this all out. So when we go from one sprite to another, when we're editing them and creating the visuals, it should save on that. So let's see how I had that set up. So when you select a unit, I have a method called save unit updates. And it's grabbing the JSON data here. And then it's saving the name right here. So the name will be saved in this selected data object. Let me think about that first though. Selected data. I think because it's saved by reference, this should still make its way back into the list. We can do a little bit of debugging if we have to make sure that's the case though. But I mean, I think we know that this much is working. Otherwise, when you click through, when I was testing, they would have lost their visuals and their names when you clicked back onto one that you had already updated. And I know that part's working, so I'm confident that this is working as intended and it's saving the data to the reference. So we should just be able to loop through the party data object. And I think it returns, let's see how we do this. So that returns a controller. Like, I can't remember what I called the controller either. Party hero controller. So if I type party hero controller, party hero in party data. Okay. And then here we just want to do a if party hero dot unit info. That's not what it's called. Either that or I don't have it accessible. I'm gonna have to create a accessor. It says public. Did I call it hero info? No, I was trying to type unit info. Hero info dot common dot name dot is empty. Alright, a whole lot of drilling down there, but that should get us to the name field, and if it is empty, we still want to return false. And this is going to loop through all 6 heroes. So if it makes it through this, and it makes it through this, we've done all the checks we want to, so at the end here we can return true. That means it didn't fail out at any of those checks. So, I mean, there might be a little bit more we can do in the future to make this a little stronger. I mean, you might not want to allow names that are only one character long. But for now, I think this is good just to test this part. This is mainly making sure there's at least something in all of these fields. And if so, it returns true. Okay. And once this returns true, the way this is set up, it should make the continue button turn green. Now I don't really like what I have it, how I have it set up right now, because it doesn't look like it's disabled. So I don't know if I'm going to leave it this way or not. I was trying to make it look like you can't click it, and there's not. If I do it this way, since it still looks like a clickable button, really what I need to do is like on a hover over the button, it should pop up a tooltip that says why it's red, which, I mean, it's just going to have to say all required data has not been entered or something, or it should say all heroes need a name and you must enter. I mean, I don't want to make it too crazy long, but I mean, the main thing I want to put here is when people hover over it, some kind of error that says all required data has not been entered to start a game. So that might be what I do. Let's see. The best way to create a tooltip on a Unity button. That is a question for ChatGPT, maybe. What is the best way to create a on-hover tooltip for a button in Unity 3D? I am using C#. Let's see if that's enough to give me a direction to go here. It doesn't have to tell me anything. Buttons trigger it via event system hover event. I pointer enter and exit. Tooltip follows the mouse or anchor it to the button with clamping to screen bounds. All right. In your canvas, alright, I guess let's try to go through these steps and see if it works. So first off, it just wants me to create a panel named tooltip. Okay. And I guess we'll keep it within this character object. And I'm guessing we need to size this to go where I want it to go. Maybe something like that. I don't know if it should be, probably shouldn't be transparent. I feel like maybe black would be better with white text. Alright, what else? TMP text child, name tooltip text, and add a canvas group to the tooltip panel. So I'm already in the canvas group, so or in the tooltip panel. So let's add a canvas group. Okay. And then under this, it wants us to add a child text mesh pro. We'll call this, or we'll put in here I mean, really, we can statically set this text up. It's only going to come up when there's an, just to show people validation. So it should say, you must enter, you must give all heroes a name and as well as a kingdom game name to continue. Okay, now can I make this fit in this box, or do I need to make it bigger? Because that's quite a bit of text. How small do I want this to get? So let's say auto size and see what happens. Let's make it centered. It's not horrible. Can I make a little bit of a buffer here? That might work like that for now. I mean, it doesn't have to be beautiful. I just want to make sure there's a little more info returning to a user so they understand why the continue button might not be working. Okay. Set tooltip inactive by default. Yeah. That makes sense. Alright, and then it's gonna have us set up some program to actually enable it. A tooltip manager. And then it wants me to attach that to the button that I want this to work off of. Where does it want me to put this script at? It doesn't really say, does it? It's a mono behavior, so I'm gonna have to attach it to something. Maybe the same as the tooltip itself. Alright, let's go ahead and just copy and paste this into a new script. Put it here for now, although I still need to figure out. I wanna have reusable files and stuff, so this kind of seems like something we would reuse. So eventually I'm gonna move all that to some shared location. But right now this is kind of tied to this screen itself. Okay. So that imported just fine, and I don't see it throwing any errors, so that's good. And I think for now I'm just going to attach this. Well, once it's done recompiling here, I'm just going to attach it to the tooltip object. Okay, tooltip, add component, tooltip manager. Oh, that was not what I meant to click. Try again. Tooltip manager. Tooltip root. Canvas group. So I guess those two can come straight from this thing. But then that last one will be the text object. Okay. I don't know how good that'll work. We'll find out. All right, one more quick little script here. Tooltip on hover. Once again, we'll put this in that same location for now. Okay. And it wants us to put this on the button. Oh, I get it. So now this is making it reusable. So this one gets attached to the button, and then we set the text we want for the button here rather than hard-coded into the object. So really, that might, I don't know if it needs to be a prefab or maybe the tooltip can just kind of hang out here and it comes up wherever it needs to. It probably readjusts itself based on the button that's being hovered over is my guess. Let's go ahead and make a prefab anyways. Just in case. And let's save this again. I gotta get better at saving more often in case things crash. And like I said, there's possibility of power outages here today, so I do not want to do a whole lot and that happen. All right. Tooltip. I need to add that tooltip on hover to the button. So that is where? Do I have to? Oh, I have to set up the text. Let's just grab that out of the tooltip right now. And then I'm going to change that to something more generic. We'll just say this is tooltip text. But then we're going to I just copied that out of there before I got rid of it. So we go back to the button now. We're going to paste that here. All right, save again, since that was something on the editor that we updated. I think we're to a point where we can go ahead and do another test run. We should have a tooltip now on the continue button if that worked correctly. For now, we don't care about how nice this looks. We just want to see if it's working functionally. All right, let's run this and see if we got anywhere. Hopefully we fixed that null reference error as well, and we were able to enter all the hero names in and test the validation method too. Okay, so far this one was an okay one. We had this one last time, and I said I need to look into it at some point. But this is something just tied to the animation, and the animation's even working, so I'm not sure what's throwing the reference error there. And these also, a lot of these warning errors are or not breaking anything. I'd like to get them off of there and figure out what they are, but alright, anyways, let's give all of the heroes a name, and it doesn't, I'm just going to use letters, because I don't have anything telling it needs to be longer than that. And see, I don't, oh, I did get a null reference error. I was getting ready to say, I don't think I'm getting the, oh, that's my new script doing that maybe? I don't know what that is. Alright. You can see all of them have a name now. Alright, let's give the kingdom a name. Kingdom A. It doesn't matter what I call this. We'll just call this game A. And see, as soon as I got some data in all the fields, this turned green. Now I do still have, it's tied to that hover, the tooltip thing is not working. And I don't like that it's turning brown when I hover over it. I don't really want that effect, do I? Let me delete this back out and see if it goes back to red. Okay, it does. And when I hover over it now, yeah, see, it's, I think anyways, it's trying to run, but I'm getting this null reference on line 13 and then 18 of that new script. Let's stop it from running and check that out. I wonder if why isn't it finding that? It's set up like a singleton. So it's a static reference. So the way that was used should work. That should grab the singleton instance. Show tooltip. If I'm getting a null reference on that, then it's not finding the tooltip manager, but it wouldn't find it. It told me to disable it, but I feel like it's not gonna find it if it's disabled, right? Something needs to enable it. It needs to be enabled when I scroll over it. Oh, that's what the show tooltip manager instance.show. So let's look at that. This is the way the example text is. It's not disable and enabling the game object. It's just changing the alpha value. So let me enable it. Yeah, I'm gonna enable it, and then I'm gonna set the alpha to 0, because I think even though it told me I could do it either way, the way the example was set up. Well, that doesn't look good either. Do I have to do it on both? The text and the background? Does it update the text and the background? It's changing canvas group.alpha. Let me try that instead of what I just did. So let me change that back to that. And then the canvas group alpha goes to 0. There we go. Okay. So now it doesn't show up. I bet that will fix this. Because I had it disabled, it wasn't finding a reference to it when it tried to run those methods. Let's try that again. Let's save and try that again. Okay. So we got to give everybody a name again. And I can clean up some. I got too many debugs going on right now. But you can see it's storing all that properly. And then as soon as I give it a game name, let's not do the game name, let's scroll over this. Oh my. That's not working as intended. It is working, but the box is way too big. And the text is centered on that box and it's off the screen. Which is surprising. Usually ChatGPT does a good job on that kind of stuff, but let's see if we can figure out how to position it correctly. Or maybe I grabbed the wrong reference to something too. Tooltip text dot rect transform. Let me change. I don't know if I can do it while it's running. Plus, if I do it while it's running, it won't save it. So let me stop it again. Let's change the tooltip manager where it says tooltip root. I don't know. Tooltip root is that. The offsets don't look that far off. I mean, 16 pixels is not. That was way farther than 16 pixels away. It's setting the size. What does size delta do? The size of this rect transform relative to the distance between the anchors. says here the panel wrecked, so I have that reference correctly. That's the panel. And the canvas group's on the same one. Let's see. Resize panel to fit text. Tooltip root. I don't know that I've ever used this size delta. That's why I'm kind of having a hard time figuring this out. Do I have the anchors? I mean, the anchors on this or the anchors on this? I did make the tooltip slightly bigger than the text, and maybe that was a mistake. Don't know. I don't really understand why that should matter. And then the text, I can actually set the anchors of the text to match the parent object right here. So now they both match. I don't know if that's what it's... I'm a little bit confused how this is calculating the sizing. Let's see if that did anything. I did change the sizes there. It definitely did something, but it's still way too big and way too... It's just off. I don't know why it's trying to be so big. Maybe I need to change the settings in here too. So maybe the max size should be probably like 32. Will it work without me exiting out? Doesn't look like it. Looks like that broke it as soon as I entered 32. Alright, but let's try that. Let's change the max size to 32. The min size can maybe be 14, although that's pretty small. I don't think it's the offsets. Let's see if that did anything. I don't get it. I mean, the text isn't as big anymore, so we at least fixed that much. But the box around it is just absolutely humongous. It's still... What did I do? All I did is click. There it goes. Let's change the offset just to see what happens. Where was that at? Under tooltip? Just for grins, let's set everything to 0. Now that should make it go directly under the mouse, if I'm thinking correctly. It's still going to be absolutely humongous. No, it's not even under the mouse. So that's not doing what I thought it would do. What is causing it to be off? I mean, it is off-centered by hundreds of pixels. What is causing that? There's no padding, because we just turned that off because I wanted to see what would happen. No padding. No offset. So this is adding nothing to this size delta.x. I'm going to turn off auto size. Maybe that's causing this to break. Oops, I need to do that when I'm not in the... Let's set the size to just... It looked a little big still, so let's do 24. Let's try that. Through trial and error, we're going to figure this out. Well, it's not. Let me look at the... It's like 400s left and top. Right and bottom is negative about the same amounts. Or exactly the same amounts, I should say. Let's see if we can... Can you make the tooltip anchored next to the button? Let's see if that will fix the issue. I'm still a little confused what's going on though. I don't know why it had to rename this on me, so now I'm going to have to create another new class. Wow, just to do the flip logic, it added a ton of code. Oh well, that's fine. I didn't have to type it, right? Alright, we're going to try this, because I cannot figure out... Is it capital T? How did they name it? Oh, come on. Not a capital T. Okay, that didn't copy correctly. I should be taking all this free time while I'm cooped up inside from the snow and trying to work on my computer speed, because it has been bogged down lately. I do not know what's going on with it. Alright. Alright, and I'm going to have to re-import tooltip on hover. Is that what it named it? I might have to rename it too. We'll leave it as tooltip on hover, and we'll just remove anchored out of our naming. Okay. We're gonna have to add the references and remove that old script. Tooltip root, canvas group, text, horizontal preference to the right, vertical preference center. It's fine. And then on the continue button, let's make sure that script is still assigned. It is, but it lost the text. And I didn't save the text, so let's just rethink what this should say. It should say all heroes and kingdom and game need a name to continue. Maybe I should push enter to make this make 2 lines. Will that make 2 lines on the tooltip? Maybe that way? Maybe. I don't know. Let's save and try this and see if this does any better. I think that's the only changes we had to make. Get out of here with your spam. Burned chat, whatever the thing your name is. Don't want to see that crap. Oh, good. It's not fixed at all. I'm doing something that ChatGPT is not expecting me to do, but I just don't know what that is. Does it not like that my text is on its own game object? I could have added... I think I can add that to this thing, maybe? Here, that's what I meant. I think I can add it here. Oh, no, I can't add it there. So I think I did it the way it's expecting. Because it does tell you to add an image to the panel, which it does by default when you set up a panel. It said to add the canvas group and turn the alpha to 0. Then I attached the manager script and the references. What the heck? I mean, this isn't the end of the world here, because this is just a nicety. But I didn't think it would be this difficult. It really isn't this difficult. I think I'm overthinking this. I probably could have done this on my own without ChatGPT and figured something out. Usually ChatGPT does a decent job, though, of giving you code that works out of the box. Alright, I have all my references. I have my padding and offsets. It's defaulting to the right, and it's defaulting as center, which you can see when I scrolled over it. It was centered with the button, and it was offset to the right of the button. But the text box itself is getting absolutely enormous. Vertically, anyways. I don't know about horizontally. Horizontally, it might be fine. Maybe I should offset it to the left. And then instead of center, I wonder if it'll give me any other options there. Because right now, I mean, there's not much room to the right anyways. Maybe the default should be to the left. Can I do that while it's running? What the heck? These aren't, I mean, I can see it moving, but it's almost like it's not based off of... It's doing something with the anchors, and I don't understand how I need to set the anchors up for this to show up right. Is it the button? I mean, the button is not... The anchors for the button? Top left. Is it because my button is inside of a container? I can't imagine that's the issue, but let's try it again. I did change the container to be more in line with the button. My biggest issue is how big it's making the text box. If that text box wasn't nearly that big, I feel like it might work. It might be readable at least. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, you can see it now. It's closer. The other thing I need to do though, because I mean this is screwing with my clickability here, is once all of this is entered, I don't want this tooltip to appear when the data is valid, of course. So once I've done this, yeah, see, it's still showing up, and I don't want that to happen either. So we need to get that text box to quit getting so freaking big, first of all. And then we also don't want this to turn on all the time. And that might be a little harder. I have something set wrong with the sizing. Well, I can figure out tooltip, like a reusable tooltip later. Let's just set this up as an object that gets turned on and off, and we remove all the sizing stuff for now. So if I get it set up where it looks like I want, so let's turn back on the alpha so we can see it. And then let's just put our text in there, which right now it is on the button. Let's copy that into the tooltip text like this. Oh, I did that wrong. That's not what I meant to do. Ah, did it again. This a little bit bigger, but not crazy bigger like it was before. Remove the continue button. Or don't move the continue button. Oh, it's tied to this buttons object, that's right. Alright. So show and hide should be fine, but we want to get rid of anything else here for now. We can work on a reusable anchor or a reusable tooltip later. We don't need any of that. I don't think we're running any of those extra the way I have it now. Let me just comment that stuff out instead of deleting it. But I don't want it doing any of these updates for now. Still needs to show and hide. So what does show and hide? What does hide do? Alpha. Okay, that's fine and that's fine. That's not changing the sizing or the position. And then the on hover is just calling those. It's using, somehow it's using this rect transform of the. Oh, it's just using it for positioning of the button, I mean. Okay, that's fine. We're not using it in. We're not using anchor anywhere anymore, so it shouldn't mess with that. We could still do this one, I guess. I can't figure out the positioning and sizing part of this script yet, and I don't feel like troubleshooting it right now. I'd like to move forward with this other stuff. No, I haven't actually turned off. Let me think. How can I turn off the... Turn this off when it's valid? I guess that needs to happen in my same script. Somehow. Let's first, before we forget to, let's set this canvas group thing back to 0. The alpha. So it doesn't show up all the time. If I need like one more part over here that somehow references you can say Boolean is valid. Actually, it needs to be as not valid. But how do I set this now? So I want to set... Can I set an action? I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't think this is gonna work like I want it to. Validation method. Yeah, that's not gonna work. There's probably a way to do what I'm trying to do here, but I want it to run. I'd like to not hook directly into that. I don't want to tie this class to this other class. At that point, I should have just put it all on the same. And that might be what I need to do for now. Like instead of this on hover. Do I need a reference to... I feel like I need a reference to the create party panel controller. Or is that a singleton? Alright. So this is making this not reusable because it's tying directly to this script. but we'll figure this out later. So really what I need to do here is say create party panel controller instance dot is valid. I don't remember what I called that, and it might not be public. Let's make this public so I can access it. And then is data valid? And we only want this to show up when it's not valid. So let's make it the opposite. And I know that's turn this tooltip on hover into a non-reusable class. So somewhere down the line we'll refactor to figure out how to make that work like I want. But let's see if that at least fixes our current issues. All we're trying to do is get a small tooltip to pop up so the user knows why they can't push the continue button. I'm overthinking it and I just need to move through and get through this process so we're getting to the next step. Tooltip is not something crazy important. I could make it in the same font as this other one. That would probably be an easy fix. Alright. It's working right now like I want. It's not resizing, so it looks much better. Now let's give them all a name and make it valid, and we hope that it doesn't show up after that. Alright, all the names are saved. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're not getting the pop-up on valid when it's valid. Good. So we're getting very close, because now we just need to develop what happens when I click continue. Uh-oh. Continue is apparently going straight to combat without doing anything else. I hope it didn't do anything else because I wasn't set up for it to do anything else. Alright, so on continue, click save party to database. Oh, we did just save everything to the database with that. Let's see if that worked. If that works, then we've actually got that next step done. And I didn't change any of their data because I didn't realize it was going to save it. Okay, so it has the data and the heroes saved. What about the game? There should be a game entry now. There's not a game entry, so we'll have to look at that. And I think there should also be a party entry. So party needs updated. Players fine. That's kind of like an account table now. Party needs updated. Hero needs updated, and that is updating. Game needs updated. The rest of them should stay blank, at least until the next step. So, since we did the save party to database and that runs, that's just running, I mean, it's doing a create hero script. So we actually haven't, we just need to add to this step. There needs to be an additional method or two here that does those additional tasks. So we need to save the game info, and we need to save the party info. So let's see, let's look at the server and see if we already have calls for those or if we need to create them. So let's do the party one first. So in the party service, we have a way to get the party, but we don't have a way to create it right now. So I think we're going to have to add that. Create new party request, returns, what should it return? Probably the same thing, the party object. And then what do we need to pass? Let's look at the party table, and that'll help us know what we need to pass to make this work. All right, so we have a row. The player game ID object, which is like our unique identifier for a player in the game together. And then the hero ID. The hero ID we won't have until that hero service completes. So right here where it does the create hero, I guess I need to grab what returns from that so I get the ID, because otherwise we don't have a hero ID on our object yet. Let's see what this returns. I think it probably returns a hero, but that's going to be important. If it doesn't, we might have to do something else there. It does. It returns a unit, which is the hero. So what we can do here then is say unit saved hero equals and then up here we can do a list of units and just call it saved party. And then after it does that, we just need to add to the saved party object. All right. Once we have all of the heroes, now we have a way to access those hero IDs. Do we want to pass we really don't need to pass the entire unit object. So let's change this. Let's make this a long. Saved party IDs. All right. And then instead of the saved hero, we're going to add the ID. All right. Now we have a list of the hero IDs. What else did we need? We needed the username and the game ID. The username should have already been saved in the local storage and pulled back in. I guess we haven't needed to pull it back in at any point yet, but it is available. And what I mean by that is if we look at the start scene, let's double check. All right, if we look here, if we click new game, it loads the scene, but up here, when you do a login, so before that button even appears, we're setting the username into the local storage, the player prefs object. So what we can do over here is we can get that. We can attach that. Now we have the username. The game name was saved in the game name field. So that should be everything we need. So we've gathered all the data. Now we just need to finish setting up that call so that it can work. So over here we're going to need the username. And we're going to need the game ID. And we're going to need a repeated hero, or let's say party hero IDs. Actually, all right, so that'll give us, oh, we need row as well. Are we storing row? I mean, we kind of have it set up that way in this screen. It says the front row's up here and the back row's down here. So I guess we are storing that. Are we appropriately saving that into the data though? If we're not, we probably need to do that when it's initialized. Create base unit. 0, 1, and 2 will be the front row. Three, 4, and 5 will be the back row. So I guess we could do string row. And then up here we could do I mean, I don't like, this is a little messy, but if I is less than 3, it's not that messy. It's just a little extra. Is that how I have it labeled in there? Yeah. This will work. Except it doesn't like, because that's inside that block now, it doesn't see it. I can't set that to no. Or maybe it's just mad because I have this going on. Okay, that's better. In that place hero, or what was it? In the create base unit, I need to set that. So hero unit dot common. Or is it common unit? Common unit? Row, battle row, something like that. Alright, now the row's getting set. But now that we have an additional field we might need to just send the whole, it might be smarter just to send the whole hero. Where was that at? Let's just do that. Let's just send the whole unit across. We have it. I don't think it should be hard to do. I'm going to regenerate my classes since I've updated the proto file here. It needs to generate this new object and this new service call. Where's this being called from? Don't need this anymore. And we need to go back to the unit list. Okay. Where is this getting called? It's not in this class. I'm going to comment that out because we're not using that. And then whatever gets mad, I know that's the other class I have to update. The server's done doing that as well, so I should be able to go into my service now and add the new service call, which is called create new party. New party request. Let's see what that's doing over there. I don't see any red squiggly lines, so maybe nothing was using that, even though it wasn't grayed out like it normally is when it's not being used. Okay. So over here, now that we have the right request object, we need to loop through the data and create new party DBs. So each loop we're looking at it'll be a unit, right? Unit hero, and that's in the request dot get party heroes list. And then in here we need a new party DB. And hero ID is set to hero dot get common get ID row And then the this one, username plus underscore plus game ID. That is correct. And that's it. So now we can do a save. And then it returns, it's supposed to return the party. So for that, we just need party, saved party equals get party by player game ID. This is just kind of a way to test that this worked, I guess. Doing the exact same thing as we did up there. Alright, if that works, then that pulls it out of the database. And then we just need to set our response object and return it. Yeah, that's it. Because we're returning a party object. Alright, I think that looks good. We'll have to do the updates for the proto file. And then the party client, we have to add the new call that we just created. This is on the Unity side now. It's going to return a party. It's called create new party. And we need to pass all that information in that we just told it we were gathering. So we need pretty much the same as the other call. But then we also have to attach the list of heroes. Okay. I think that'll work. All we can do is test it, and then we'll know. We'll have to delete the data out of the database for the one we just did a test run with, just to clean it up. So now we need to make a call for that. And I know that's not all of it yet, but we're going to test it after this part of it. So we've saved all the party members at this point to the hero table. This will do the party save. So this will be so we need the username, the game ID, which is in that game. Wait, we don't have the game ID yet. Yeah, you're right. We don't have the game ID yet. We're going to have to do the other call before the party call for game ID. Everything there's set up right, except instead of 1, hard-coded 1, let's make it 2, because I think I already have a 1. I need to actually grab the game ID from that save, because we're naming it. I was thinking I could grab it from the game name, but that's not what we need. We need the game ID. Okay, so let's test this much just to make sure that this new call works. I'm gonna save this once this is done, because it's running so slow. I'm afraid it's gonna crash again. Maybe the slowness is tied to this API no longer supported error, because this wasn't something it's always done. Anyways, I clicked save, click play, but I have to clean out, before we do any saves, let's clean out the hero. Let's clean these guys out. We do have a game ID, because otherwise this wouldn't have saved. I just thought about that. Did we already generate the game ID? I remember us creating a method that generates a game ID. We might actually already have the game ID. Where does that happen? Oh, I have it hard-coded right now. I do think we created a method we can use to get the game ID though. I think we've already done that. I guess we just haven't actually made that call yet. So if I go into the game service, there should be something up here where it says get. Maybe not. Or maybe it's this one. It's this save new game routine. So we should be able to run this in this same method though to get the game ID. So we've got that, we got the server side already ready to go. But we got to get rid of this. We have to set this in the bottom. Because we don't want to... We don't want to create the new ID until... we do the save. If someone starts creating a new game but then doesn't finish creating a new game, we don't want it to increment their ID. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, I guess, but it's cleaner to do it this way. So down here we would do game I must not have added it to this side yet. Okay. This should be quick though. I don't know what I have to pass in, but that might be all I need. Alright, what does it say we need? Is that it? Wait a minute. What do we got going on here? Am I duplicating what I need to do here? It looks like my save new game routine is also saving the heroes. So the steps I have on the Unity side where it's doing that separately is not necessary. Although I do need this info for the party. Why isn't it finding that object? I don't know. Let's get rid of this from here right now. This is kind of like, the reason I'm taking it out of here is because at least right now, the way I'm thinking in my head is this is something the hero service should be doing and managing. This game service should only manage the game table. I mean, to the point I probably only brought the hero service into this because of that. Which kind of makes sense. We don't need this here. It makes more sense for it to be where I was doing it in Unity, I think. Let me stop this from running. I still don't know why this... I don't know why it's not finding party. Oh, it is finding it. I didn't finish this line over here. Dot save new game. And if I take out the part where it's saving the heroes from this call, can I clean this request up a little bit? So let's say we don't include that. Let's do that. And then over here, we're no longer looking at those fields already in this spot. We are going to have to rerun our code here to regenerate that update, though, unfortunately, because it takes way longer than it should. Come on, come on, come on. Alright. Username, game name, kingdom name is what needs passed into this call. Username, game name, kingdom name. And the reason that other one's showing up is I didn't update the Unity side yet. It should fix it now where the heroes doesn't show up in this call. Yeah, we're good. Alright. So there's that call. And then over here we pass in username, game name field dot text, kingdom name field dot text, and that will allow us to here put game dot game ID. All right. That should be everything we have to save to get to the next scene. Alright. Let's start the server back up because I don't think I have it running. Make sure there's no errors. I think I did all the updates correctly. Yeah, now we kind of did a separation of concerns. The party service manages the party updates. The hero service is updating the hero updates. And the game service is updating the game updates. So I think that's a little bit cleaner. Whew. My computer is chugging. I do not know what's going on. Using 32 gigs of memory. And I was up to 50 to 60% CPU, but it's dropped back down. It's just crazy though how sluggish this computer can get, even though I have a 10850 i9. I mean, that's not a super new generation, but it's still a fast processor. And I mean, 64 gigs of DDR4. It never seems to use the full amount, though it kind of seems to stop around that amount. And don't forget, I also have a 3090. I mean, that's not affected by these builds, but anyways, like I said, I need to almost redo this whole computer. I think I'd get a lot of speed because it is sluggish, to say the least. Okay, so I have the server running. I think I have everything correct in the Unity side. I cleaned up the one table that had updated. Now the party table and the game table shouldn't have any updates yet for this new game. And they don't. So now let's go ahead and create... Let's create a new game and see if all of those 3 locations get updated. And let's make at least some updates here. So let's make, let's see. I think eventually I'm gonna update the hair colors to match between beard and hair, and then also with the skin. So like I could update the skin color right now, but it only updates the face. So it almost doesn't make sense to do that because it looks pretty dumb. Let's give him different colored eyes. Let's go with green. Okay. And I mean, I can try to click continue. You can see that part's working. Let's name this guy Tink Man. Tink Man. Sounds good, right? And then let's say this will be like a... I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We don't need to go too crazy here. We're just trying to get some different visual data saved so that we can see the updates when we update combat. We haven't updated combat yet, but when we do, I want to make sure those updates work. Let's make this purple eyes, pinkish eyes, and maybe elven ears. It doesn't matter what I put for a lot of this. Alright, let's do a few more updates to each guy, but we don't have to be quite as descriptive. I should be adjusting the height and width a little bit too. Let's make this guy taller and wider. It doesn't seem to be transferring into the picture. It is over here. I don't know. Maybe that's not part of the visual info and there's something else I should be updating. Cloud. Can we make Cloud from Final Fantasy? I don't know. He kind of had funky hair like that, didn't he? And then what else we got here? That kind of looks like Dragon Ball Z guy, right? I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Drago. Let's call him Drago. Let's give him like reddish hair. Maybe his eyes should be like silver. And heal me, and I don't even know. I'm just making stuff up, trying to have a few extra things here. It's probably supposed to be girl hair, but it doesn't matter. Let's go with darker hair for this guy. Maybe a beard. Yeah, I don't like that I have to do that on both. And the eyes. Alright, good enough. 6 different looking characters. We'll call this the Kingdom of Albion. There we go. Game name. Test. Alright. After all that time, I hope it worked, right? Push continue. Now nothing's going to show up because we haven't updated combat yet, so don't freak out when we see all the generic visuals again. If we see the generic visuals. Uh-oh. It creates all the heroes, but then when it tries to create the game update, we get a SQL error. ID doesn't have a default value, so maybe I don't have something set right in the database for that one. Let's do an alter table. Let's make that auto increment. I think that's the issue, but then I also need to make sure it's set up right in my server for the database. Yeah, okay, this was set up right, but I didn't have the database actually set up right. So it couldn't create the ID because I didn't have it auto incrementing, I think was the issue. Unfortunately, I still have that issue where if the server doesn't return anything, Unity will wait indefinitely and pretty much is locked up now. The good news, I don't think I didn't. I think I remembered to save everything on the front end. Yeah, I don't think there's an easy way. I can try to attach to Unity process. Why is there 2? Well, I don't know which one it's supposed to be. If I'm attached, can I then pause it? Probably not. I don't know. I'm trying to connect to it so I can make sure all my changes are saved. I don't know if it's going to let me. Oh, it did. Alright. The bad news is I have to do something again here. Now we did one of the sections completed, which is kind of messy. It's almost like an all or none setup I need here. At least it looks like it's saving all the data though. Check game, but I don't think anything's in game because like I said, I think that's where it failed. And then party happens last, so it shouldn't be updated either. Okay, good. Alright, so let's not take quite as long and just make a few updates here. I don't even care at this point. I just want to see that there's some changes. I have to click out of that. I need to update the way that it saves back to this because that needs to happen for the continue button to work correctly. Alright, we're going to try again. And we have to start the server. Alright, we're good. We can leave Unity running just because the server wasn't running. Once the server's up, if I click that button again, it should send the call again. Take two. Maybe. I'm not feeling good about this. Still getting an error on the game call. Get Kingdom Power is null. Alright. So I think what it's getting mad about is a data issue. But it did create the record. Now what happened was I didn't set the Kingdom Power to a default value, which I can do this for now. But unfortunately, because it errored out, I don't think it did the next step. Let's just double check if party's updated. It's not. Let's try to tap into that again like I did before. Maybe I can do this without exiting. I doubt it. That didn't work that time. Maybe I didn't give it enough time to get connected to it. Okay. So let's fix this issue though, or it's going to keep happening. So Kingdom Power needs to get set to a default value when this is set up. So just set it to 0. Pretty picky if you got a null in the database like that, which is good, I guess. You don't want to leave stuff in that kind of state. All right, let's see. Unable to connect. Well, we know it's fine. We know we saved it, so let's just kill it. Let's kill it in Task Manager. Honestly, it's probably got some memory leaks anyways, and it's probably going through the roof. I don't see it at all. Oh, it did kill it when I just tried to close it. Okay, we'll open that back up. Server is running again with that new update, so that shouldn't be an issue this time. We're almost here. I think once I get this part done, I'm gonna call it for today. I want to get this step done. Make sure all the data is saving in the database so we can move on to that next step of going into the game and seeing the visual updates there. That'll be the next step. Alright, let's try this one last time, I bet. I bet it's gonna work this time. Did I delete that out of the database? No, I did not. Okay. Click. Taking too long. Well, we got through. We got to the combat scene, or we got... I don't know. Maybe not. Because we're in the game service still. Enum constant for combat. I saved it as lowercase. I wonder if that's the issue. Darn it, it locked up the Unity editor again. Yeah, it's mad because that was lowercase. Some of this stuff is temporary. Like, that's not normally going to be an issue. I'm not going to be setting that hard-coded like this. I mean, I guess I will be. Yeah, I guess I will still be setting up a default game state. But really, that should be the combat dot game state. I don't know. It's fine. The way I'm saving it in the database might be the wrong way to do it. Well, shoot, that means we're not going to have an entry in the party again, and that's what I'm trying to do, is get an entry in all three. Not quite there yet, are we? Restart the server since I made that update. Gonna have to kill Unity again. It's just the faster way to do this anyways. Try this again. I think I'm just going to update a couple of the characters right now while we're testing. Because once I figure out and get this actually working, we can create better test data, but I don't need anything crazy right now. Well, we got an error this way at least, so it didn't lock up Unity. Still mad about something. Does say saving new party though, that's a good sign. So it might have gotten to the combat scene. Well, not really though, because it's not loaded. Oh, I saw this before. So because I called one of my fields row, and that's a key word in MySQL, it's giving me issues. So I need to change that to battle row wherever this is at. I'm gonna make a note and I'm gonna work on this. I'll do this off camera. This repair, repair, bug fix. So I do need to get off of here for now, but let's double check the database. I think we're gonna have data pretty much in all the tables now. Well, maybe not the party one, because that was the one. This isn't correct. Needs to save to player ID as well. I thought it was already doing that. Maybe it wasn't. The game table looks good now. Party table. It said it saved to the party table. It lied. I guess it didn't say it saved. I think it said saving, which means it hit my call. It made it that far, but then when it was trying to save, this is where it doesn't like the row, the name row. So I need to change this to battle row and then change it in my, yeah. Fix row, change row, field name to battle row. Party table. All right. Okay, I'm gonna call it for today, but made good progress again. A little bit each day that we work on it's gonna start to come together eventually here. So I appreciate anyone that was on today. Thanks again for watching.